Hi, this is Darren from SimNation. Just doing the second part of the Zero to Hero for week one. This one I'm going to focus more on playbooks and on strategy. If you remember in the last video, I talked about depth charts, staff, and how I choose who's going to play. In this one, I'm going to choose how do I implement a West Coast offense in a 4-3 hybrid. So let's just dive right in. I've already made the playbook just because I don't think you guys want to watch me go through that, but I'm going to explain some of the reasons why. So a lot of the teams I have where I run at West Coast, I tend to run a pro set, two tight end, shotgun. I run three formations. You can do more. There's no issue with that. But what you're largely looking for in a West Coast style playbook is short to medium passes and then essentially outside running or getting the ball to the running back in space. Bear in mind, West Coast offenses, they throw the ball a lot to the running back because the thought process is a throw is the same thing as a run. So you'll see that inside this playbook where I will actually throw the ball to the running back. Now I'm not doing screens because screens traditionally don't work all that great. But as you go through it, you'll notice like I have these and what I'm looking for here is the depth. I want short or I want medium or I want balanced. Um, and generally, the scheme doesn't really mean much because it's all going to be the same if it's a pro set. But I'm not carrying weights. I'll wait until week 2 or 3 to put in weights. The reason for that is I just don't know which plays are going to work yet and which don't. Now, for those of you who are looking for a quick way to get an offense up and going, you can always go here to your uh, offensive coordinators, and if you had the spring game, you'll be able to see this. My general rule of thumb is if it's a rushing play, you want more than 3.5 yards per carry. If it's a short pass play, you want more than 3.5 yards per attempt, or the average gain is 3.5. And then for medium, above 5, and then of course for long, the optimal is above 7. Um, Ideally above 10. But that's kind of what you aim for, and you could do this. And if you want, the quickest, easiest way to modify this is just export the playbook and then import it and then modify it. But again, you could use this if you wanted to see which plays were working during the spring game. For me, it's not going to work. I only have one quarterback during the spring game. I think I only had like 1 or 2 running backs as well. It's just not going to give me anything. So offensive playbook, what I did is I went with pro set. I went through each of these and I saw the ones that were short or medium. Now, with the running game, if you remember from the last video, I'm aiming to the right side a lot, but I have to compensate by having some plays to the left side because I got to keep the defense honest if I'm going to run the ball. So counters are one of my favorites. Off tackles are one of my favorites. I use them pretty much often. Sweeps are one of my favorites. You very rarely ever see me do dives or inside running. But the reality is at the end of the day, I will use them occasionally. Now, one of the things I am going to look is because again I have the benefit of the spring game is I'm going to get rid of tight end in because it's 1.3 and then just a whole lot of issues. This one is a short out. This is still okay even though it has interceptions. I just got to keep that in the back of my mind, and then I'm just going to go with the rest. So pro set shotgun is a vertical type of offense predominantly, but again, I'm aiming for short and medium. I'm not going to play pistol. I'm not going to do RPO. Doesn't work well within a West Coast offense, and I really don't have the assets to be able to do it. So again, counters on my run plays. I'll do a couple sweeps. Again, try to keep them honest, but again, I'm not looking to go down the field. I'm trying to keep my game as much as possible staying in the short and medium. Now, if I was truly running a true West Coast and not going with some plays I know that work, I'd be looking at this again, keeping this in pro style and avoiding the verticals. Verticals tend to be longer pass plays, so like slot corner may not be a good idea because it's a vertical, but I'm gonna keep it in. And then I'm using two tight end again because I have two good tight ends. They both can catch the ball. Only one of them can really block, but again, two tight end has largely been a system that has worked for me over the years. So that's kind of how I get to my offense is as the year goes on, I'll figure out which plays to keep and get rid of. The ideal offense for me is around 25 pass plays and around 15 run. But I'm going to look at the average gain and the interceptions, and then I'm going to start getting rid of plays depending on what that looks like. So that's the offense. Now, I tend to break up my defense into run and pass plays. So what that means is NDDEFR will be my default run playbook for defense. And what I'm looking for here is anything that's balanced but says run support, or balanced in run. I have one pass play in there, but it's because it has run support. Also, I do need to have some pass plays in there because otherwise I'm going to get run over. Balanced, again, for run, I tend to focus on balanced and run. I like to have my linebackers in some form of run support, but that's not always going to be the case. Like in this one, it's balanced, but this is a play I know tends to go against the run because I have a zone read right there. Again, remember the symbols. This means man's in coverage. I think the man is, I forget which one that is, but it's not a hook. It's it'll come back to me at some point. Um, but essentially they're going off to a side. This is a zone read. This is a zone. And then this is, of course, a deep zone. Um, and I'm going to have 5-2 in here because I have a lot of defensive linemen. I can get away with that. But again, you're seeing what I'm doing though is I like tight in run defense because it makes a more presented wall. It makes it harder to get through. But again, I'm aiming for balanced and run support. I like this one because these two go off to the sides, and that can help prevent someone from getting outside. I will have diamond here, but mostly because there'll be times where I'm going to need to drop into coverage. Pass, I aim for pass plays. And again, what I'm looking is seeing what's happening here. So this has two guys in coverage to the left, and then you have essentially four people in coverage with one deep in a deep zone. Now, I'm choosing dime over nickel because I don't have good linebackers, and hence the reason why I only really want to have one linebacker on the field. Um, and then what you'll notice again is a lot of the plays I'm doing are to stay with at least four people on man coverage and then having at least three people blitzing on it every time or creating clogs in zone coverage to where I can pick off the pass easier. And most of these are just plays I know that have worked for me in the past. So there's nothing special to it, but I'm also looking to say what type of defense do I want to run. In this case, I want to have five people. I want to have one in zone, and then I want to have cover. I want to have blitzing. In this case, I want to have people in places where normally the ball is going to be thrown. So that's kind of the playbook. I could go ad nauseum into this, and I will, but I want to get through week 1 and week 2 before I do that so I can actually show you how I tailor the playbook. Right now, I'm taking a little bit of a guess. Notre Dame plays Houston. I'm not going to get much detail on Houston, unfortunately, because it's nothing that's happening in the season so far. I can look at like the quarterback and see that he's probably going to throw the ball not long. But we'll talk about that in a second. So again, I'm going to want to throw the ball more than I'm going to want to run the ball. So we'll just get through this real quick. Just a general reminder, the run pass rate, that's not a percentage. That's just how much, the lower the number, the less you weight the pass, the higher the number, the more you weight the pass. I ignore these anyways. And I do that because I just don't want there to be a change based on me getting into the red zone. Uh, and also, I don't want my offense changing what's working, which means I have a potential to run the score up, unfortunately. So I want the weight on first down to be around 40 for this game because I'm going to try to run the ball a little bit. Then I'm going to go to 75, 79. And some of this is arbitrary, so I'll just warn you about that right now. So I'm just adding 10 for this one to whatever they have, but I'm definitely going to favor the pass is what's happening here. So 70, 84. And I'll talk more about that, but generally, if I think someone's susceptible to the pass, I'm going to go 70s. If I think they're susceptible to the run, I'm going to go 30s or 40s. If you always want to run, just put 1 It will run most of the time. If you want to throw, just put 99. Now, on this case, I'm entering this game without knowing much about this offense. Normally, I would look to see what they do on first down, second down, and third down by looking at their last game and then looking at the analytics around it. But I don't have that, so I'm going to go with a typical RPP, which means run on short, throw on medium and long. Again, if I see that someone's always throwing, I'm going to change that up and do it opposite. And again, I'm going to ignore these. Um, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set this to 100, which is going to force it to blitz out of the blitz playbook. And I've talked about this before, is the blitz rate, whenever you blitz, and the way SNCFL is set up is we do not have the blitzes in the playbooks. I need to watch that for a little bit longer before I make a decision on it. So when I put 100, it means that it's going to choose the game's blitz package and it's going to blitz using those plays, not my playbook, but those plays. For other ones, I'm going to change that up a bit and I'll show you here. But third and long, fourth and long, I'm just going to blitz the hell out of them. Now, because they're going to run the ball, or I think they're going to run the ball, I'm going to go 15 he'll keep 23. I'll go like 65. First and medium, I'll go 1. I don't think I could do 0 anymore. Again, hill, I'm going to go 15. Actually, I'll go 1s on these. And then I'll do like 25 hill, do 25 hill, do 1. And again, I want it using my playbook is essentially what I'm telling it to do. 32. Some of these are purely arbitrary, so don't ask me why I'm doing it. But what I'm telling the game to do is use my playbooks on first and 10, first and short, and on short. Mostly use my playbooks on second and medium. Always use the blitz package, or mostly use the blitz package on third, second, and long. Will it's 100 times more likely going to run it. So that's play calling. Game plan. Again, I don't know much. Normally, I would look here, see who the player is, key off the player. So I'm going to have to make some guesses, right? So we're going to go with default. I'm not going to let my coordinators do this. Traditionally, unless I think you're running the ball or you're throwing medium, I go long just to keep you from getting away with it. I choose man as a default most of the time. Now I'm going to go conservative. I'm going to go pass. I'm going to go normal because I'm running a West Coast offense. I'll keep it balanced for now, but I may change that. A lot of times I'll go none, which means that he has complete freedom to call anything out of the playbook. Because traditionally, whatever's in your playbook, he's going to look and see, is there a medium pass play? Is there a medium pass play outside? And then that's what he's going to do. So I'm going to set this to none. I'm going to set this to none just for the first week. Now I'm not going to set this one to none. So in the last video, we talked about who my really good wide receivers are. I'm probably going to find Sadler. He's my best wide receiver. Third down back, Stevenson will be the back. And then goal line back, I don't really care. I'm going to set none. I don't want it to change anything. I will run outside or I'll run balance, but we'll leave it outside for this one. And again, we'll leave that mixed. We'll leave that mixed. And I'm going to set that to real because I really don't want my quarterback getting hurt. Attitude, I tend to play aggressively on defense. I'm going to go aggressive pass because I think Houston and pass has been pass. I'm going to set this to pass rush. And then I'm going to set this to none because I just don't want to deal with that. Player radio, the best player I have on my team is, we'll just set it Mullen for now. I am going to match my DBs to wide receivers. I am going to align my coverage. And if ever you need help with this, is just again, this means that my defensive backs will match up against wide receivers when there are aligned man coverage. Just means to make sure that CB1 covers CB2 and things like that. I may have gotten that wrong, but I'll look into it again in a moment. I'm not going to target anybody because I don't know what they're going to do. Point margin for backup, we're just going to say that I'll bring my backups in at 42 points. I mean, if I have a 42-point lead, they'll come in. I'm going to set this higher because I kind of want to, and then it'll be 70 and 85. I'm not going to do formations, mostly just because I don't have the depth for it and I don't have the patience for it. Now, I'll do a week 2 video on this only because I think it's more valuable to see how I actually look at my next opponent when I know something about them. But this is me just guessing and setting my base. We'll see how it goes and we'll go from there. So hopefully this helps a little bit, but this is a West Coast offense. We'll see how it goes, and maybe I'll just keep tweaking it, and then hopefully that'll help some people who want to play a West Coast offense. I probably should show you Maryland because Maryland is more of a vertical attack, but we'll see how that goes. Hope you enjoy this video. If you're interested in a league, we have a lot of good teams open. Put the information in the link. Have a great night. Bye.